Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Also the North Central Chaplain for Broken Chains, JC. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. Again, out here in Hill City this morning, spending time out here during the Sturgis Rally. And man, it has been a busy, long, really long week, but really good. Been hot. Been wet. We had to ride home through the hills last night in the dark through a thunderstorm. That was interesting, to say the least. And, the one thing I did realize is that adrenaline takes a really long time to leave your body, and created some issues in my sleep last night that we'll talk about just a little bit. So today we're looking at Proverbs chapter 7. And in Proverbs chapter 7, we hear Solomon tell a story to his sons about a young man who gets seduced and falls into the trap. And it's really dangerous. And you should read it. It's too much for me to read to you today, especially with my internet connection the way it is. But you need to read it. But I realized something as I was reading it. It talks about a wife, an adulterous wife who seduces a young man, right? But the idea of seduction comes in multiple ways. And so last night, I had that adrenaline still in me. I had sat up for almost 2 hours trying to let it wash out of me before I laid down and fell asleep again and caused me to fall asleep, but it wasn't fully out of my system. And I dreamt a really horrible dream that my wife had told me she was done and she was leaving, and it crushed me. And I've talked to her already this morning. She knows about what it was. So the reality is, that's the same kind of seduction. It was a temptation to give up everything and to be done. And I could have fell for it. I could have wandered into it. Or I could have reached out to my wife first thing before I even got out of bed. I'm in the Word today. This is the first time in forever I called my wife and talked to her before I got into the Bible. Now, don't get me wrong, I spent a lot of time praying before I did that to get my head straight. But that story of seduction is something that you and I experience on a very regular basis. That adulterous woman can be as simple as a nightmare, or a worry about what somebody else thinks about us, or a concern about finances, or a stress about a child, or any of those things that takes you off your path and keeps you disconnected from God. That's that seductive, adulterous woman luring you in, and you need to be aware of it. Read the story in Proverbs chapter 7, starting in verse 6 and going to the end of the chapter. Take a look at it and realize it's not about sex. It's about taking you away from what matters most. I love y'all. Hope you have a great day. God bless.